Hello, my name is Callie, and today I will be teaching ASL histories and backgrounds on deaf culture. For my project, I am learning sign still, so please be patient with me. The cultures I will be bridging today are hearing cultures and deaf cultures. So, what is ASL? ASL can be described as a powerful visual art form and a linguistic minority language. It's not just hands, it includes non-manual signs like facial expressions, body positioning, and classifiers that paint a picture in a conversation. This is an active language and meaning construction, not just a passive medium. For example, signing the word big would not give representation as to how big it really is. You would want to emphasize this through non-manual sign. So societally, what do deaf people go through on a day-to-day basis? Overall, there are spaces that uplift deaf people and deaf culture by making them feel comfortable in their own spaces. But overall, in mainstream society, there is a big problem of the expectation of hearing. It is very dominant in American society, which can also be termed as linguistic imperialism. Linguistic imperialism is the dominance of one language over others. So in this example, it would be through hearing individuals versus deaf individuals, and how that moreover upholds society's structure of how it engages in discriminatory practices, like forcing lip reading, which puts deaf individuals in an inferior position, or how they are coerced into hearing norms, cochlear implants, which can benefit in ways, but they also deter the point of divergence and uphold this imperialism. This societal environment gives more recognition to this term called audism, which is the belief that one is superior in their ability of hearing. And now this is demonstrated in all different forms of institution levels of education, amongst societal works of how we order things, how we see things, how we demonstrate and communicate things. And it is the most visible form of oppression amongst ASL speakers. It is held in the notion that deaf people are unintelligent. Autism demonstrates that human identity is tied to speech, which further oppresses deaf culture. Historically, this led to increasing amounts of oralism, which is the teachings of lip readings and also speech and auditory input. It mainstreams the deaf individual into a more public environment of school where they feel ostracized for being deaf. This can be shown as an example here.
Culture, right, can be drawn from a number of areas. Gender, race, language.
Institutionally, the first American school for the deaf was founded in 1817. The opening of deaf schools allowed less room for integration, but more recognition for the deaf community. While bridging the two seemed to help linguistic difference, it still singled out deaf people because of inadequate support in mainstream schools. It assumes authority over deaf people and not giving deaf teachers or signers an opportunity to represent their own communities. So what we can do is we can bridge these two communication styles together through communication accommodation theory. And what that looks like is we take into account of what our identities are, basically looking at our communication styles, our different varieties of where we stand in society, and how we come together to communicate. Now, within communication accommodation theory, there is convergence, which is the ability to understand the minority group and their communication style and adapting to how they would approach deaf persons and indulging into that language of ASL, which emphasize a willingness to learn. And Through the variable of divergence, being deaf is uplifted through emphasizing the difference of communication and how emphasizing that uplifts the community by not assimilating to the norms of speaking cultures. I think universally that everyone has the right to maintain their own identity through non-accommodation in either terms of their culture, their race, their sexual orientation, their identity, and not maintaining to mainstream norms of being straight, able-bodied, hearing, and uplifting ASL and deaf persons as something that is not frowned upon, not looked at as a disability that needs to be fixed, but moreover, terms of how we can respect their culture and even implement it in our day-to-day lives. Now, this more goes into my resource of how hearing individuals, as to me and you, can implement more ways of finger spelling and ASL, and learning the importance of deafhood and their existence as a deaf person in the world. Kind of what surprised me was the extent to which simply being one that is hearing, it carries immense, often invisible advantage that we don't even think of. So my resource for today is for hearing individuals. It's meant to aid convergence amongst all of us, which is our ability to adjust our communication styles and to manage social identity with the deaf community. I think that we must move forward as an informed society, recognizing the need for visibility for deaf cultures. And I encourage the audience today to be more mindful of this culture at an institutional level through our schooling, our work, and in our lives overall. Thank you.